The roles of leading female characters in The Little Mermaid and Moana. In the past 3 decades, the roles of gender have changed remarkably, especially for women. This is demonstrated by the increasing number of female political leaders and cultural influencers worldwide. This video explores the development of leading female characters in one of the most mainstream medias that have been inspirations for people around the globe. It compares 2 scenes from 2 Disney films, The Little Mermaid and Moana.
The study of popular culture and the Disney universe can no longer be considered a Mickey Mouse enterprise, but an important component of our understanding of the world today. Despite what company officials and some audience members may say, Disney is not merely entertainment, and the manufacture of fantasy by a company like Disney Corporation has implications for the reinforcement of societal norms and values.
Disney films are not only a reflection of our society, but also a form of reinforcement and influence. This video identifies the differences in the films that were produced almost 30 years apart when the political, economy, cultural, and technological contexts have transformed. It compares 2 key scenes from the films. Firstly, the scene when Ariel from The Little Mermaid sings Part of Your World, and secondly, the scene when Moana sings How Far I'll Go. These key scenes have been watched over 320 million times on YouTube. In 2017, Moana is ranked number 1 on DVD sales in the United States, according to thenumbers.com, with over 15 million DVD copies sold. In respect of such high audience figures of all ages, this study will take a closer look at what lies beneath the 2 films. Both animations have been culturally influential and watched by a large number of children and adults alike. In discussing the details of the films, it is best to identify the motivation of the characters. Whilst both stories have happy endings, for The Little Mermaid, it is the adventure to find a romantic partner. For Moana, the focus is the adventure to save the family and her island. With regards to the social statuses of the characters, Ariel is the daughter of King Triton, who rules the sea. Moana is the daughter of the chief of a Polynesian village. Both leading characters are brought up in ruling class with high expectations. They are adventurous and have the urge to explore forbidden places. However, there is one significant difference in these characters: their motivation. Ariel is passionate and keen to know about the world of human beings. She falls in love with a man and trades her own voice with human legs to find true love. For Moana, she sails from the shore into the dangerous ocean to find a cure for the environment, which are the resources of food and lives of people in her village. The motivation for Ariel is self-focused. For Moana is community-focused. Why are these extremely different values illustrated in the mainstream media? The following minutes will clarify the difference of gender roles in 1980s and our present time, then explain how the narrative context is reflected in the 2 key scenes. First of all, let's explore the meaning of gender and femininity in late 1980s. According to Women in Contemporary Society, which was published in the same year The Little Mermaid was launched.
The term gender is applied to cultural aspects of male and female roles, in other words, the behaviour. The correct gender role in our society also suggests channeling sexuality into heterosexual behaviour, and people who do not conform to this are sometimes labelled as deviant because they infringe common expectations of these roles.
This quote leads to gender roles description.
Appearance is an important aspect of femininity as portrayed in our society. Perhaps it would be more accurate to speak of appearances as women and girls, much more than men and boys are expected to present themselves differently in different settings.
This is an evidence that the society back then paid much attention to women's looks. In order to be correct, women must appear beautiful. Additionally, finding a partner is a lifetime goal.
One of the striking features of magazines aimed at girls is how little the message or the presentation has changed over years. The characters are not only as stereotyped as you would expect, but are also without regions or accents, and the world impinges very little on what is presented as the main activity of life, finding and keeping a partner.
From these references, it is undoubted why Disney chose to produce an animation that coincides with the norm of society. Ariel's motivation to find the Prince Charming was then the aspiration. Between The Little Mermaid and Moana, Disney released a total of 7 animated films with female leading characters. Beauty and the Beast, Pocahontas, Mulan, The Princess and the Frog, Tangled, Brave, and Frozen. Interestingly, all films have the leading characters with independent and adventurous minds. 3 films out of 7 end with weddings. 3 of them have heroine characters who save their kingdoms and do not marry. This could prove that the mainstream media believe women now have a choice to be their own heroines and have a choice to have or not to have romantic partners. Speaking of the recent women empowering media, 3 years before Moana was released, Sheryl Sandberg, the director of the Walt Disney Company since 2010, launched her book Lean In: Women, Work, and the Will to Lead. This book is an international bestseller that has been a massive cultural phenomenon. It was sold over 1 million copies worldwide.
Today, in the United States and the United Kingdom and the developed world, women are better off than ever. The blunt truth is that men still run the world. This means that when it comes to making the decision that most affect us all, women's voices are not heard equally. Over the 195 independent countries in the world, only 17 are led by women.
Sandberg not only provides the information about the number of female leaders, she challenges and encourages women to take leading roles.
I believe women can lead more in the workplace. I believe men can contribute more in the home. And I believe that this will create a better world, one where half our institutions are run by women and half our homes are run by men.
The transformation of gender norms has gradually been developed from 1989 to 2016. It is now easy to point out how the characters and mise-en-scènes in these 2 key scenes are designed according to the role of femininity that represents each era. While both stories are located at the ocean, Ariel's name means sea foam or made of air. She is very slim and has an hourglass body. She cares about beauty and carries traditional feminine gesture. On the other hand, Moana's name means the ocean. She has a strong body with not much curve. She cares about her village and carries herself as a strong leader. Mise-en-scènes are also designed to fit with characters, narrative context, and the themes. In The Little Mermaid, with a romantic storyline, the colors appear softer, more subtle, and because it is developed from a classic fairy tale by Hans Christian Andersen, the scenes were designed mostly from imagination. It invites the audience to enter the mer world that does not exist in reality.
Jumping, dancing, strolling along down a, what's that word again? Street. Up where they walk, up where they run, up where they stay all day.
In this scene, it is interesting to see how Ariel's self-focused motivation is illustrated through taking the audience to her personal magical space. It shows her collection of objects from the world on the shore. The camera rotates around her, giving the sense that among these items is where she belongs. Moana, on the other hand, is originated from a Polynesian folktale. It has a more upbeat style of storytelling. In comparison with The Little Mermaid, the colors appear more vibrant. The innovation of 3D animation techniques, combined with xerography, gives the film a much more realistic look. This technology captures the character who lives in the real location beautifully. The scene at the Polynesian village in the Pacific Ocean looks as if it is taken from a photograph. It invites the audience to see how important it is to preserve the existing place. In this scene, it is interesting to see how Moana's community-focused motivation is illustrated through taking the audience to follow her outdoor. It is located in the public space as we can see the sky and the ocean where the character feels she belongs. Apart from the factors mentioned beforehand, economy and political context also play important roles in shaping these 2 films. In 1989, when The Little Mermaid was released, the construction of Euro Disney was underway, located in Marne.
Its location in Marne outside Paris, the site of the First Battle of World War I, is not without significance, as it lays siege to the cultural and historical heart of Europe.
The writers of Deconstructing Disney suggested that Euro Disney, The Little Mermaid, and Beauty and the Beast were all part of the plan to break through European market. The reason Disney chose to animate the stories from Europe was because the company aimed to be part of your world in every aspect. Therefore, the song composers Alan Menken and Howard Ashman illustrated the company's intention to the lyrics.
Up where they walk, up where they run, but who cares? No big deal. want more.
The conceit of the heroine seeking a better world beyond the confinements of a present situation is not unique to The Little Mermaid. Indeed, in various ways it is a common trope of every film in the recent Disney oeuvre. But in Europe, in 1989, it has a special resonance related to the consumerist deprivations of communism. The Magic Kingdom, which lies beyond the untranscendable horizon, or the Merworld, is unsurprisingly Disney itself, a place which matches personal freedom with consumerist bounty and the pursuit of happiness.
Disney's purpose to be part of your world is also illustrated in Ariel's gesture and facial expression. She expresses discomfort to be where she is. She swims up, looking at the light, trying to fit in. Taking the time to analyze the economy and political context of Moana, the film was released during the decade Disney was reported to be the major cause of environmental issues, with high production of metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalent.
In their 2010 Corporate Citizenship Report, the Disney Corporation, including businesses, offices, retail stores, cruise ships, parks and resorts, reported just over 550 metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalent, which means Disney as a company is producing more metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalent than the whole country of France. Reports of Disney's consumptions and waste are measured by CO2 emissions, can put in perspective just how much Disney as a corporation affects our planet. Disney's carbon footprint is enormous, and they own the responsibility of balancing what they take with what they give back to the earth in a healthy way.
While the aim to break through European markets since the 1980s has brought grand success, in recent years, facing the new challenge, there is no surprise why Disney's recent films are meant to carry the message to conserve the environment. In fact, Disney has foreseen this issue and established Disney Conservation Fund in 1995 with a goal to save the environment. It was the same year Pocahontas, another environmental film, was released. There are parts of the corporate branding to help Disney maintain its financial status. How far I'll go could suggest Disney's attempt to reduce pollution they make. The lyrics written by Lin-Manuel Miranda is both women empowering and environmental loving. Women empowering message is not only sung in the lyric, but also animated in Moana's strong gesture. She is very confident and has no will to compromise. Disney is one of the most mainstream media that creates content based on cultural, economy, and political factors of each era. The society and the media have an interrelationship. When the role of genders change, the mainstream media changes their medium and message. From 1989 until present, it is evidently noticeable that from taking domestic roles, women now aspire to take roles of leadership in workplace. From focusing on how they will find the right groom, there are more women now who choose to focus on their career paths and be the change in their communities. It will be fascinating to keep track on how Disney's female characters will develop in the upcoming years.